And I'm just going to go straight into it with Francisco. How's your sound going?
I guess it's okay, right? Hello, Chris.
Yeah,
Can
I
you
can
hear me?
hear you perfectly, and you have got a
Perfect.
beautiful picture of some fruit behind you. So we are now live. I just jumped straight from Paul into you. Happy birthday yesterday. Most importantly, hopefully you were taking some time with friends and family. Maybe just a quick introduction, and then Francisco, if you can share your screen if you have slides, and then I'll hand it over to you for the next hour. Francisco was instrumental in the movement around exponential organizations. Later and more recently, he has created an amazing community called the Purpose Alliance. And the Purpose Alliance is really a community of doers, for which I really try to be part of that community and get my hands dirty whenever possible. And there's some certifications in there that I hope you will talk about. I have just finished the first group of the, I think, innovative, maybe Francisco could tell me what it's called, but it's the innovation certification that we did over a couple of weeks, and really had to really get our hands dirty and do some work in order to really demonstrate that we knew about lean canvas or lean startup, business model canvas, a lot of these techniques in order to get initiatives moving really fast. So Francisco, I am delighted that you could be here. Thank you so much for joining. I'll hand it over to you. So if you want to share a screen, looks like Scully's in and maybe she's sharing the screen. Is that what's going on?
I'll be doing it, yeah, directly.
Okay.
Sure.
So go ahead. So you need to share your screen and then I put it on the screen and then I'll jump off.
Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you so much, Chris. Just before starting to share the screen, I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for organizing this campus party. I love the goal and the aim of what you are putting together here. As some people know, those people who know me, I'm a doer, I'm an entrepreneur, and I love to be around of entrepreneurs and help entrepreneurs and just build things among all of us. So this online event looks amazing, and thank you for bringing me and to give me the opportunity to share a few things with the people. I hope that what I'm going to be talking about is interesting for you, and at the end of the talk you learn something. So I'm going to start sharing the screen. The title that give me 1 second, because it seems I need to put here some in the system. Okay, let me see if I can share the screen now. Okay, can you see my screen? I think you can, right? Can you see my screen? Yes.
Yeah, so I can share the screen, but you have screen on screen. That was quite interesting. So, yeah,
okay.
There you go.
It was an infinite thing. Okay, perfect. So today I'm going to be talking about how to make a massive impact in the world. We are living in maybe one of the most extraordinary times of human history. We have access to amazing technologies that allow all of us to do amazing things. We also have methodologies that help us to fail less and to move faster. And I'm going to be talking about that as well, right? But overall, I want to talk about mindset, which is the key in order to really make an impact. Making an impact can happen in different ways. Through entrepreneurship, like launching startups or exponential organizations, of course, transforming existing and more traditional organizations. And we could talk about all the different ways to make an impact. But I'm going to be very, very focused today on entrepreneurship. Although you can apply this to entrepreneurship, how to launch disruptive businesses from corporates. So this is something that can apply perfectly. But I'm not going to be talking today that much about how to transform an existing business into a more exponential organization, because I believe that this forum, like this event, is more focused on doers, on entrepreneurs. So I'm going to be focused on that area. That at the same time is the area where I enjoy the most. The world is changing a lot. I mean, not only because of the COVID, but also because all the exponential technologies that we have around us and all the different new things that are happening every day, right? Our lives are completely different of the lives that our parents had, right, or are having, and the lives of our children are going to be completely different of our lives, right? However, if you look like 6, 7, 8 generations ago, between generations, everything didn't change that much, right? But now the change or the pace of change is accelerating every day. And the same thing happened with businesses, the same thing happened with entrepreneurship, with startups. Even a startup is kind of an old word in a way, right? It's kind of traditional already. It's not like a new thing anymore. So we need to learn how to do things in the current world, and will be different in a few years from now. So what I want to bring today here is like the new way to do businesses, and at the same time making an impact, because the biggest challenges in the world are at the same time the biggest business opportunities, and we have to be aware of that. So first of all, well, if you want to share anything, my Twitter, LinkedIn, like Instagram account is there, Palao, so feel free to do it. I'm happy to share the slides at the end of the call. And I'm going to talk a little bit about me, but not about everything that I have been doing. As Chris said, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a doer, as many of you, and I have been doing, and I still do things every day, right? But more than the things or the clients that I work or I have been working for, what I want to talk is about a few lessons learned that I have had during my life. So I'm going to start explaining my lesson learned that I hope that is interesting for all of you, at the same time that I talk a little bit about my history. The first startup that I launched was called Buscar Amigos. In English, is like looking for friends, although it wasn't friends what we were looking for, because Buscar Amigos was a dating website. It was something similar to Tinder, but that was launched in 2000. Actually, in a few days, we were had like our 20th birthday of this business, although it's not live anymore because it was acquired 3 years later, launching it. And this brand was merged into a bigger one a little bit later. So the interesting thing here was that first, yes, was a successful business, right? But I was doing that when I was 19 years old, only with 19-year-old, and I had no money. I didn't even know how to build websites because I didn't study that in the university. So I was learning by my own. I was basically leveraging free assets that you have, like free servers and things like that, in order to build the website. And the most important part, beyond that business was acquired 3 years later, was that 1 year after launching the business, we received this picture from a couple from Mexico. And they were saying, well, thank you for building this website because we got married, not through the website, but because they met at the website, right? And I was surprised. I was amazed, and I was so happy to see that we were changing the people's lives at the other side of the world, because that was happening in Mexico. And back then, I never had been in Mexico, right? So from my parents' house, from my room, with my computer, I was making people's lives different. They were so happy. I don't know if they are happy anymore, but they were so happy 20 years ago, and I hope that they are still. But they were the first of many others that got married through because the website, because this was a website that we put together. So my first lesson learned was that nowadays anyone can transform the world with technology. Anyone. And that happened 20 years ago when we had, like very basic internet technologies. Now we have much more advanced internet technologies, but we also have access to drones, to 3D printers, to many things that can actually and really transform the world. So any of you can actually transform the world and make an impact. But let's see how, right? Because it's not only about the technology. The second company that I built was called Ajactive, and I built Ajactive after finishing my PhD in artificial intelligence. I loved, and I still love, artificial intelligence. And at the very beginning, the business was doing very, very well. Actually, we were growing like a lot, but we had a linear business model and we wanted to be kind of exponential, right? We wanted to scale. So we raised 3 million euros. We hired a senior team, and we spent 2 years in the lab, like building a new product, because we wanted to transform our business from service-oriented to product-oriented, right? Well, we launched the product. Well, before that, I also wanted to know more or learn more about, methodologies, well, like about businesses and so on. So I did an MBA. I did an MBA, and I was a very good student from the point of view that I was, like applying everything that I was learning and so on. And we again apply everything that we learn at the university, at the MBA, at the business school, and we launched the product. And when we launched the product, we failed. We didn't sell anything. We sold like 0 licenses of the product. And why was happening that? Well, at the very beginning, I didn't even know, right? So I was quite confused. And I was lucky enough to have still some money in the bank. So I went to the Silicon Valley. I started to learn, right? And I learned a few things. And you can learn everything now on the internet, but back then, you had to go to the source, to the place where, these wise people were. And I learned that, what I was told in the business school was that when you have an innovative idea, you put together a business plan. This is already old school, but back then it wasn't, right? I basically wrote a business plan. I spent like months writing a business plan, and I launched my business plan and my product and everything. And what happened when you launch an innovative business plan is this, that you fail. And you fail because actually a business plan at the very beginning never survives a first contact with customers, as Steve Blank always says, because a business plan is not a set of actions that you should be executing. It's actually a set of hypotheses that you should be evaluating in order to see whether you are, right or not, and you change things and you pivot, which is quite normal, right? So I went to the Silicon Valley and I met Eric Ries in 2012, and that was amazing, and I started to learn so much from him. As you know, Eric Ries is the author of the Lean Startup, the book, and the basic thing is that he was saying is that you don't spend 2 years building a product and let's see what happened after that. No, what you do is very, very rapid cycles where you build something very, very quick, you measure with real clients and so on, and you learn, right? And instead of spending 2 full years doing something, imagine that you have money for two years, right? Instead of doing one loop, which is building for 2 years, measuring and learning at the end that you were wrong, right? What you do is imagine that you do one of these cycles every month. So you build a little bit, you measure whether this is something good or not, and you learn, right? If you do one cycle every month, instead of just learning whether you were right or not at the end, you have 24 opportunities to fail or not, right? So this is the basics of Lean Startup: build, measure, and learn. With that, you can learn by failing, because you fail, but you don't kill your company, right? You just have small failures that make you learn, and eventually you are successful. Steve Blank, who was actually the mentor of Eric Ries, he said, get out of the building. Get off the building and start talking to clients, because this is the only way to learn, right? So in the same way that we develop products, we have to develop a customer base, because at the very beginning, we don't even know who is and who is not our customer. So Steve Blank put together a process that is, I like it a lot, that is called customer development, that says at the very beginning, you are searching for something. You cannot execute a plan, and you are searching for who is your customer and this kind of things, right? So you do customer discovery, and later customer validation. Eventually you are product market fit and so on, right? But by doing that, basically, you can learn who is your customer, what are the needs of this customer, and you can pivot and you can change your business model and all that. I don't pretend to explain the customer development process here, but for those of you who don't know it, I just want to say that this is something interesting for you to look at. So I attended a long program with Steve Blank at Berkeley University, And I, started to have a lot of discussions with him about how to merge different methodologies and frameworks and so on, and also actually how to merge design thinking with lean startup, with customer development, and also with agile, right? Because lean startup design thinking allows you to know what you should be building. Agile tells you how to build the thing, right? So you have to always combine lean with agile and so on. So after learning all these kind of things, all these new methodologies, and I was, at the middle of, nothing, because we were about to close the company and everything, but we started to apply all these lean methodologies, agile and so on, and everything started to go well again, right? So we started to learn to launch new product, new services, new companies, and at the end we were successful. So what I learned there was that with new technologies, with new context, I would say, you need to de-learn, or you need to unlearn, right? Sorry for the English. And you need to learn things in a different way, or to learn new things, right? So I started to remove from my head what I learned at the MBA, at the university, and so on, and I started to learn new things that allow me to be successful. And that was very, very important, because at the university you are always taught about how not to fail, right? And especially me, because I'm an engineer by training, right? So, but the failing is part of the thing, as I said, right? But failing not too big, right? Failing small and learning all the time. So actually, the last startup that I launched was called Monitor. That was an online platform to help entrepreneurs to implement lean startup, design thinking, agile methodologies, and also corporates, right? At the end, Lean Monitor was acquired by Gast.com. You might know Gast.com. And so I started to move and to think in different things, right? Because something was missing. we had such amazing methodologies and technologies to build things, but something was missing, because very soon after, we started to see the merge of many other exponential technologies, such as drones, the revolution of energy, AI, 3D printing, and so on. We are in the very early stages of the fourth industrial revolution. This started to change everything again. So I was lucky enough to attend Singularity University. I kept learning about all these kind of things, all these technologies, and overall about the implications of exponential technologies. Because it's not about predicting the future. You cannot predict the future. You cannot even know what is going to happen with these technologies. The only thing that you can do is actually create this future, as you know, right? But in order to create the future, you need to know the implications of the technologies. And and there is something that is very interesting for you to look at if you don't know it, which are the 6 Ds. And maybe, by the way, someone else has been talking about these kind of things before, like, for example, Paul Epping, right? I respect a lot Paul Epping and many others who are talking in this forum. So the end of the 6 Ds is that everything gets democratized. I mean, technologies are democratic, and at the end of the day, we get access to everything. Sooner or later, we do, right? And what happened with that is that the business models of companies are changing. And I'm going to be talking here about something very, very important for all of you, which is what are the new business models that are actually being successful nowadays. Kodak was bankrupt at the same time that Instagram was bought by $1 billion by Facebook, as you might know, right? What happened here? Because people were saying, well, Kodak didn't digitalize themselves properly and so on. But it's not about digitalizing something. It's not about making the paper zeros and ones. No, it's not about that. It's about the business model. What happened is that Kodak used to have a scarcity-based business model. Instagram, on the other hand, had an abundance-based business model. Why? Because if you remember Kodak, they used to sell you these rolls of pictures with 24 or 36 pictures. So you had to think a lot about whether to take the picture or not, right? And you had to think a lot. With Instagram, the more pictures that you have, the better, right? because they were selling abundance, not scarcity. With Kodak, you had to think the resource was very scarce and so on. But with Instagram, the more pictures there are on the internet, the better for them. The more pictures that you can take, the better for them, for Instagram and for the whole movement, right? So everything is actually becoming abundance, as you might know. There are an abundance of energy, there is an abundance of art, there are an abundance of resources. The only thing is that we have to connect with this abundance and to distribute it properly. But with technology, we can start to do that. And this is why all the business models are changing. And this is making that most of the current traditional businesses are feeling like this mammoth, that are basically feeling obsolete because they have to transform themselves in something else and they don't even know what is the new shape, right? So there is a new phenomenon that is called the exponential organizations. That is a new thing. It's actually something that is the evolution of startups from my point of view. Okay, and I will explain later if you want the differences. But exponential organizations are those that are able to connect with abundance and to manage it in a way that they can evolve and they can scale in an exponential way, just as technology does, basically. If you think a little bit about it, Airbnb is it's so successful, or well, although now with the COVID everything is changing, right? But it's even worse for traditional hotels, actually. But the thing is that they are nowadays the biggest hotel chain in the world, and they don't even know they don't even own a hotel, because they are connecting with an abundance of places to stay, and they are managing it properly, and they grow. Google is connecting with an abundance of information. Netflix is connecting with an abundance of content. Uber is connecting with an abundance of drivers. Instagram, we were talking about Instagram before, they are connecting with an abundance of pictures, right? And exponential organizations, that was a book that was written by Salim Ismail and Yuri Van Gist, and they were, and we, because we, a group of people were helping them to basically understand everything and doing a deep research, right? And basically what they were doing is analyzing which were like the common factors that made a company being scalable and being exponential, right? And at the end, we discovered 11 attributes. Those are what we call the EXO attributes, and those are 11, right? So there are some attributes that are helping us to connect with abundance, and there are some other attributes that are helping us to manage the abundance properly. Some of those attributes are the community. For example, TED is a company that is run by the community, and the community is so engaged with TED. Another attribute is leverage asset, which is that you don't own the assets as Airbnb. You just leverage them when you really need them, right? So Salim Ismail and myself, we team up a few years ago in order to start transforming traditional companies into exponential organizations. One of the first things that we did, and I actually led a few years ago, was creating what we call the EXO Canvas. And the EXO Canvas is a tool that allows anyone to use the different EXO attributes in a very easy way. So it's something that you might want to check out in order to, again, to design exponential products, exponential organizations, or at the end of the day, like new initiatives that connect with abundance and manage it properly. A few years ago, like 2 or 3 years ago, we created a new, we launched a new book that is called Exponential Transformation. The book that maybe popping, because I have seen at the end when I arrived to this online event, I saw the last slide where he was putting this book among many others, of course. But here in this book, we basically open sourced a new methodology that is called the EXO Sprint. That is a 10-week methodology that allows any traditional company to evolve themselves in order to become an exponential organization or to connect with abundance. And the EXO Sprint basically can be executed in 10 weeks, which is the standard, but it can be also done in 5 weeks or even in 5 days. But the idea at the end of the day is to generate a set of initiatives. Some initiatives are focused on improving the current business model, and other initiatives are focused on creating the new generation of business models for this industry. And this is working really, really well. There are like so many companies and organizations around the world implementing EXO Sprint in order to transform themselves in something else. Because the EXO Sprint, in a way, is the answer to this question that we had, where we needed to transform the mammoth into something else. But we were missing something again. And again, I have been talking now about how to transform, not in detail, but company transformation, right? I'm going to start talking now about how to build a new entity that can make like a massive impact. Because again, at some point, and like, you know, not a long time ago, I realized that we were missing something again, right? And this is normal. And in a few years, we'll realize that we are still missing something, and this is how the world evolves. But if you think a little bit about us, about people, we used to look at the stars, you know, we look to use at the stars. Now we are looking at our mobile phones all the time, right? When it's night, we look to the TV, to the computer, to the mobile phone. But we used to dream. We used to dream to go to the stars. We used to try to think and to figure out why we were here, right? Because the humans is the only species that we know that are able to ask to themselves why. An animal, well, another type of animal cannot ask themselves why something, right? And the fact that we think why make us decide things. Because why we cannot go to the stars, why we cannot fly, why we cannot, you know, cross the ocean. So by doing that, we start thinking about why we cannot do things. We start deciding, because we are also the only species that are able to decide something that doesn't exist and to imagine things, right? This is actually the very beginning of the technology, because eventually we start creating things that allow us to fly and that allow us to go to stars or to go to planets and so on. And think a little bit about that. I mean, we are an amazing species. We are incredible because we create things that extend ourselves, that extend our bodies, that extend our minds, that extend our reach, right? And we are actually explorers. This is what we are. We are explorers. We are trying to go and to push, you know, the boundaries of humanity all the time, always. And why? Because we have something that, even though you might not remember, because our education systems are not done for us to dream. The education systems are basically more built for you to find a job, right? But maybe the job that you find, you don't even like it, right? But we have something inside us that is the purpose. As we call it, the massive transformative purpose, the MTP, which is one of the attributes of exponential organizations as well. The purpose is basically the reason why we are here. Is that thing that provides value to your life, that thing that provides a meaning for you, for your life, right? Because we could talk a little bit about the Maslow pyramid for a minute. Something very interesting that I have been saying for a while is that I was taught at the very beginning, when my culture in Spain, but I think this is something across the globe. People say if you are healthy, if you have money, and if you have love, you are happy. And I don't agree. I don't agree. I think that being healthy, having money, and being in love is so important. Not being in love, I mean loving people, right? Your friends, your family, whoever, but giving and receiving love in general, right? These three things are important, but there are two more layers on the Maslow pyramid, as you can see here, right? Like health, money, and love. These are only the three first layers, right? You also need to fulfill yourselves, to do something that makes you feel fulfilled. Because at the end of the day, you are not all the day like enjoying your body, your health, or your money, or you are not around the people that you love, right? You do so many things in your daily life. And you need to make or to do things that make you feel that you are doing these things for a reason. And this is your purpose. This is feeling fulfilled. This is the self-actualization, right? That you are devoting your life for something that matters, to make an impact, right? In companies, in businesses have vision and mission. The vision tells you what you want to become in the future, the mission, how you are going to arrive there. The purpose talk more about why you are here, right? And the world that the external world that you envision, and what you want to make, right, in order to make this world true. This is your purpose, and everyone has a purpose, by the way, and this is the North Star. You can see it here, right? The purpose is the reason that makes you feel good, but also is going to allow you and to help you to make better decisions in life, and to give a direction to your life and to all your decisions in every layer, even to your couple, even to your friends. Everything that you do is going to be driven by your purpose. Actually, the most successful companies and exponential organizations do have a purpose. The purpose of Google is organizing the world's information. They envision a world where all information is organized. Or TED is ideas worth spreading, right? Is spreading these ideas, and this is why TED has an amazing community. Actually, even Harvard is saying that now we have to lead with purpose. Purpose is becoming so important, and the biggest leaders in the world are purpose-driven. Elon Musk is not here to make a lot of money, although, by the way, being purpose-driven makes you more money at the end of the day. But Elon Musk's purpose, one of them, because he has a few, is basically making humanity a multiplanetary species. And this is why he wants to bring us to Mars. And this is the reason why I recently wrote another book with Angel Maria Herrera that is called Massive Transformative Purpose. The book is in Spanish, but it's going to be in English very, very soon. It's an amazing book. Well, Angel wrote most of it, by the way. I wrote the first chapters of the book, but he did an amazing job putting together an amazing methodology for allowing people to define their purpose, or to find, more than define, is to find their purpose within you, right? And there is a tool that I will be talking about later, because that was my main contribution in the methodology. But if we start putting together all the methodologies, innovation methodologies and personal methodologies, because at the end of the day, organizations and startups are made of people, right? We have the what, as we were saying before, the lean startup, business model design, customer development, what we should be building. How is agile, right? Scrum, Kanban, whatever framework you want to use. And the why, which is the North Star, is our purpose. So we have to define our purpose in order to know what to do. And this is very, very important, right? But, this mammoth now is being hit by another meteorite. That is not even the exponential technologies, it's also the COVID, right? The exponential technologies are making everything very, very hard, but the COVID also hit, and is still hitting, and it's going to be hitting even more in the future, humanity and also the businesses, right? So here I'm going to be talking about a personal story that well, Chris was mentioning a few minutes ago, and it's about something that happened very recently, actually 3 months ago, more or less. I was in Peru. I used to travel a lot and giving keynotes. Actually, this year for me was supposed to be a very, very calm year, because I wanted to be only giving keynotes, running workshops, and helping a few clients, but in a very calm way, because I was basically leaving my previous core position in OpenEXO. And I was focused on again giving keynotes to spread my experience, and also developing a new methodology that I'm going to be talking about now, that is called Purpose Launchpad. So I wanted to be there, but I was canceled all my keynotes suddenly, like everything, right? And I was in Peru March 12th, and I had to give a keynote in March 19 in Asunción, Paraguay. And I was called and said, Francisco, we are going to cancel the whole event. We are sorry, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So everything was canceled, which is understandable, right? But I said, I have to do something. I cannot be, just waiting for things to happen. I want to do things because I'm a doer, and I want to make an impact in the world, right? So, and I will be talking about my purpose later, but it's part of that. Well, actually, let me tell you now. My purpose is evolving organizations and people. I want to evolve organizations, but overall people, because the only way to evolve organizations is actually evolving people. And another way that I express my purpose always is evolving humanity, right? So organizations is like a side thing, but it's humanity itself. I want to upgrade ourselves. So I want to be part of the example, right? So what happened was that all the keynotes were canceled, and I decided to do something. So the March 19 that I supposed to be in Asunción, Paraguay, giving this keynote, I said, no, I'm not going to be giving this keynote anymore. So I'm going to do something in order to help with the COVID. So I started to put together a website, and I said, basically, I launched like a call to action. Let's meet all together. And I will be teaching a little bit about exponential technologies, exponential organizations, innovation methodologies in general, and people will have like the tools in order to ideate and to think about new solutions, new exponential organizations in order to help with the COVID. So all in 1 week, since the minute that I decided to do this until what happened, in 1 week, we got together more than 300 people from more than 25 countries all around the world, providing solutions for the COVID. And that was really, really amazing. But after that, so many other countries, and actually the next one was UAE, led by Paul Epping, the guy who was talking before me. He's amazing. So he said, Francisco, I want to replicate the same in UAE. Please let me know how to do it. And I said, sure, Paul, the only thing that you have to do is following these guidelines. So I gave to him like some guidelines and all the documents. So I was super open, and I provided to him everything, right, for free, of course, in an open way. So he launched a new challenge only for UAE, and after that Mexico, after that Peru, and up to date we have run more than 30 challenges all around the world, not only for COVID, but for other global challenges such as unemployment, education, and so on. That has been an amazing ride. I mean, as you can see here, also for the future of education, right? And this is a movement that is happening where we are providing for free and in an open way training to people, to the organizers in the different countries, all the package for them to run different challenges, to tackle like a big challenge in that country or in a global challenge, right? And what is happening is amazing, because of course I wanted to be calm this year. I'm not calm anymore, I can guarantee you, because I'm working so much with this. This is now a new entity that is a not-for-profit entity that is called Purpose Alliance. And our purpose is empowering extraordinary people to create the future, because everyone is extraordinary, and we are providing the tools, the technology, but overall the mindset for people to start launching new initiatives in order to solve a big challenge. I'm going to play a video about this, but before that, what I wanted to say, because it's the third and last lesson learned of my life, and I will be explaining now the methodology, is that the key is the mindset. It's not the technology. It's not the methodology. The key is the mindset. The technology is there, the methodologies are great, but you know how many people talk about lean startup without understanding what really means in a deep way, lean or agile, or open. You have to really understand the things in a very, very, very deep way. That's the most important part, right? So let me put a 2-minute video about Purpose Alliance, and I will be explaining the methodology, and if we have time for questions that I don't know if that's the dynamic, we'll do. By the way, you have to tell me whether the sound works or not, but I hope it does. So let me play.
Wait.
You're there, Chris, right? Okay, perfect.
Is this a video I can play for you? Because you need to share your whole screen in order for the sound to work. So have you shared your whole screen or just a window?
Yes, but you were looking at my whole screen, right? Before, not?
Okay. Yeah, it looks like your whole screen. So your sound should work. Let's try it.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Okay, if it doesn't, just let me know, Chris, and I will stop. Okay, I'm going to play the video about Purpose Alliance.
The world is facing global challenges: poverty, war, unemployment, lack of access to education, gender equality, climate change, global pandemic, And at the same time, we are living in one of the most extraordinary times in human history. We do have the tools to face global challenges. Democratization of exponential technologies, democratization of innovation methodologies. But this is not about technology, nor about methodology. This is about us. Janet Pele, Jack and Draken. Together we can reinvent the world. Purpose Alliance, empowering extraordinary people to create the future. Because everyone is extraordinary. Everyone has superpowers to make an impact. Due to COVID-19, we decided to launch our first Purpose Challenge. More than 300 people from 25 plus countries joined and generated more than 20 exponential solutions to help with COVID-19. We had people from all cultures, genders, and age. They generated more than 20 exponential solutions. But the best wasn't the initiatives we launched. The best was that we learned that together we can make an impact. And this is just the beginning. There are still so many challenges to solve. The world needs doers. The world needs you. Purpose Alliance, empowering extraordinary people to create the future.
Okay, so this is Purpose Alliance. As we said, it's a not-for-profit entity, and we do basically three things. We run challenges. Everyone can run a challenge if you want. You can run a challenge around your purpose, and that will help you to generate community as well and movement and overall to really make an impact or start making an impact. We do have a community, which is, all of you, everyone who is around is our community. And we do offer certification in order to make our not-for-profit sustainable, right? Because not-for-profit doesn't mean that we don't need the money. So we do. But the certification, most of it, it goes to the master of the different methodologies that are the ones running the programs, and you can eventually become master and run your own certification programs. And we have a few about this. If you go to the website, you can learn more about the challenges, about the community, and also about the different certification programs that are very, very focused on doing things and learning by doing. The main lesson learned, and basically the summary, and now I'll go to the methodology itself, is that it's not about the technology only, although it's very, very important. Not only about the methodology using technology, although it's very important and you need that. It's about the mindset. It's about, when something happened, to think how to evolve yourself, not being quiet, right? Or how to continuously evolve your thinking and learning, right? And really understand the things. Because again, Lean Startup is not only about saying, or Agile, about saying we are doing things quickly, we are doing things in a way, adaptable way. No, it's about really understanding the things and the essence of the thing. Most of the people who talk about the methodologies, I have found that they don't really get the essence of the thing, and the mindset is the key. I believe is going to be the key in the future. So having your purpose is going to be a very important thing. So this is why, even though we want to make business, we want to make a life, we want to make a new startup, but think about the why. It's very, very important. Think about your why, as an entrepreneur, right? Why you are here, what is the impact that you really want to do? And this is why Purpose Launchpad was built and was designed in order to allow entrepreneurs and corporate to make a massive impact. The process started in 2012. I started to put together all these methodologies and drafting the methodology and everything. Although at the end of the process and during this last year, like more than 150 collaborators or contributors all around the world have been providing input and feedback. So it's a methodology that has been co-created by so many people. And the idea here is that once you have an idea, a late-stage idea or a startup, even though the startup is already selling, post-revenue, it might be super interesting to really run the Purpose Launchpad process that I'm going to explain very, very briefly now, in order to make your company or your entity sustainable, and also to provide to your entity like the why, right? The reason to be there. Because at the end of the day, the Purpose Launchpad is a meta methodology, put together different methodologies in order for you to really build a business. So it's not an easy methodology, I'm going to say. It's a very comprehensive methodology, and you have to master like the lean startup, the customer development, design thinking, agile, purpose things, the exponential organization model, many things that will make you like the real master. But it's very important for you as an entrepreneur or as an advisor or even as an investor to understand all these kind of things. We have something that is called the axis in the methodology, which are 8 different areas: the purpose, the people, customer, abundance, sustainability, process, product, and metrics, that are the areas that we basically work in order to define or to keep evolving the business, right? So the first one is the purpose, and it's talking about the MTP canvas. That is the methodology or the main tool in order to basically run the methodology that I was talking about before, the Massive Transformative Purpose, the book, right? So either you as a person or as an entity, you can use the MTP canvas in order to define your purpose or find your purpose, right? So the first thing is finding your purpose if you have not a purpose, but also you have to define the moonshot. I mean, what is this bold goal objective that you want to make true in a few years? The vision for your entity, the mission, how you're going to do that, and the values. Values are as important as the purpose, by the way, because if you are not aligned in terms of values with your co-workers, with your co-founders and so on, everything is going to fail eventually, right? Or maybe the team. The team is the second part, is that are you a real entrepreneur? Do you need another entrepreneur with you? Because there are people who are more explorers. There are people who are more focused on execution. And you have to be, like honest with yourself. Because if you don't have true explorers in the team, if you have only people who are more used to work at corporates, these people might not be explorers. They might be explorers, but you have to really find out who is who. Also, customer development, developing your customer, value proposition canvas, design thinking. I mean, there are so many methodologies here, as you can see. The people also talks about the community that you have to tap into in order to really make something sustainable and really big. The EXO canvas is about, or the abundance. The abundance is about using the EXO attributes with the EXO canvas as another methodologies as well, by the way, because I'm just simplifying the whole thing a lot in order to connect with abundance and to manage the abundance. And with the business model, basically, we define how we are going to be creating, retaining, and delivering value, right, to the world. At the end of the day, the business model canvas is going to allow us to do that, but there are so many other methodologies and tools that we have to use in order to make a scalable business model if we want to scale. Also, how to sustain ourselves, how to manage the funding, or how to find funding if we need it, right? All this is about sustainability. The processes, the Purpose Launchpad is the process itself, but how to apply agile principles in order to do it properly. Or the product, how to build an MVP or how not to build an MVP, how to use lean startup here to evolve everything. And the innovation accounting in order to measure what matters. And at the very beginning, what matters is what we learn. It's not what we do. It's not about doing a lot of things. It's not even about selling as soon as possible. It's about learning as much as possible and very, very quickly. And we have something that we call the Purpose Launchpad map, that after running an assessment, we are able to see this, which is how we are doing in the different variables, right? And based on the assessment, what we can do is thinking, and the process, what is going to tell us is thinking about what we should be doing next. As you can see here, there are 3 colors: the yellow, the blue, and the purple, right? So we are going to be filling the gaps. First of all, we are going to make sure that everything is yellow. Here, everything is above yellow, right? Okay, once everything is above yellow, what we are going to be doing is making sure that everything is above blue. So purpose is fine because it's here in the blue. Okay, so what we have to do here is something about people. We don't know yet, we'll see later. Here we have to do something about a customer, right? Here we have to do something about sustainability, not about abundance, because we are here in the blue, right? So we're going to be filling the gaps. So in the next iteration, we'll be working on the people, on the customer, on the sustainability, maybe in the process, product, and metrics, right? But not in the purpose and not in the abundance, because we are already in the blue. So by doing cycles, right, and we can run cycles, I will be talking a little bit about this in a second, but we are going to be evolving all these axes, right? And eventually going from this type of shape to this type of shape, where we are already sustainable and we can even become an exponential organization if this is our desire. Not everyone has to become an exponential organization. Maybe you want to be a local organization, but still can make a massive impact. So there is the concept of the purpose launchpad sprint, which is again like a 1 week or 2 week or even 1 month cycle, where you first of all, you update yourself. You do a progress. I mean, you check what you have been doing, what you have been learning, and you run the assessment. And when you run the assessment with 24 questions, you are going to get the map, your map. And based on your map, you are going to upload your backlog for the sprint. And you are going to start filling these gaps, as I said before, this one and this one. And based on these gaps, there is a table, which is the repository, that is going to tell you what to do in each level for each of the variables, right? In the discovery level, which is the yellow, right? In the validation level, which is the blue, and in the customer creation level, which is the purple, right? And for each of these variables. So this is like the knowledge base. And this knowledge base is going to tell you what to do. So the other day in the purpose launchpad, we have the heart. The heart is basically the process that is providing blood to all your body, and the brain, which is the knowledge base, that is all these things that you can do, right? And you have the team. The team, you have a purpose launchpad mentor, right? And this should be a certified mentor if you want to have someone who really understands the model. You have a coordinator inside of the team, although in truly highly efficiency, highly performance teams, you don't usually need a coordinator, but team members, of course, are needed, right? So the team members are everyone who are building the business. It might be the whole startup if this is our early stage startup, because some people are focused on building the business, some people are focused on running the business. So if you are building the business, you are here in the Launchpad team member, right? And you can be both placed at the same time. You can be a team member and you can be acting as a mentor. For example, in Purpose Alliance, I'm being the internal mentor, but at the same time, I'm being a team member, right? So this is the team. In order to really understand more the methodology and apply and so on, the good news is that this is an open methodology. So you can go to purposelaunchpad.com. Remember that purposealliance.org is a not-for-profit, the community, the certifications, everything. In purposelaunchpad.com, we have the open methodology, and you can download the guide. And in the guide, you will have everything that you need in order to understand this, right? So you can download the guide. This is for free. This is open. Anyone can do it. You also have an Launchpad assessment tool. So you can get the map of your initiative by answering 24 questions. And I highly recommend all of you who have like a business to do that in order to see what to do. Of course, that you might not be ranking this in the right way, because you might be thinking in your team in a different way of that really is, and so on. Well, a certified mentor could help you to do that. But in any case, running the assessment by yourself will be very interesting. And the other thing that we have in Purpose Launchpad is finding for a mentor. So looking for a mentor. So if you are looking for a mentor, we'll connect with you or you with one or with a set of certified mentors for you to keep running your business, right? This is very interesting also for investors, because investors can also analyze and assess how their initiatives are actually doing it, right? Based on these different variables and including everything, all the different meta levels, all the meta methodology with all the different methodologies and tools. But well, at the end of the day, and some quote that I really like is what Steve Jobs used to say. He said that people who are crazy enough to think that they can change the world, they are the ones that actually do, right? We all can do it. We have seen it, right? We have access to very powerful technologies that allow us to really change the world. We now have access to methodologies that allow us to define how to do it and how to use the technologies in the right way to really create value. But at the end of the day, it's about being a little bit crazy. It's about having the right mindset. It's about unlearning. It's about questioning ourselves. If we are applying the methodologies properly, if we have the right principles, and even though we are saying that we are lean or we are open or we are whatever, if we are really what we are saying, right? It's very important. Mindset is the key. And we are here to change the world. It's our obligation. We are here to make a better world. We are here to create something that didn't exist before we were born. This is our mission in life, right? So I encourage all of you to find your purpose if you don't have it, to make an impact in alignment with your purpose, and well, in order and overall to make a better world, because we all have the tools, the technologies, and of course the mindset and your superpowers to do it. And I hope that in a few days, weeks, maybe years, some of you email me and say, well, Francisco, all these things that you provide help me to do this project, and now we are improving the lives of X number of people. Hopefully I receive this type of messages. Thank you so much. And again, find your purpose, find your North Star, and make an impact. Thank you.
And maybe if people get married through the Purpose Alliance, like you started your story, Francisco, thank you so much. There's pieces about you in here that I didn't know, and it's an amazing story. You're an absolute doer. It's a pleasure and an honor to be part of the community with you. In addition to your own website, I think you mentioned it, but just in case, purposealliance.org. You showed the website. I'll put it in the notes as well, and people can go there to see the challenges. And I think there's an upcoming challenge about diversity. I think in a week or so. I think the deadline to register is today, I believe.
I think so. I think it's today. Yes.
Yeah. So being part of the COVID challenge, the first challenge was incredible to see how many doers were mobilized, over pretty much every continent to come up with really cool ideas, innovative ideas, meaningful ideas really fast. So Francisco, thank you so much. And again, happy birthday yesterday. Thanks for the time, and we'll speak to you soon. Thank
you so much, Chris. You are doing an amazing job. Thank you for putting all this together and for inviting me. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
bye.
Francisco.